Hello all, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to run you through how I make these really simple DIY tent pegs with little to no tools, just a knife or an axe. Perfect for if you forget your own pegs. Basically just an easy bushcraft project for you to try if you're just starting out. Stay tuned. Right, we've got ourselves a nice piece of hazel. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to tidy up this end, and then we're going to cut it into equal lengths, about a foot long, and that's what we're going to use to make our pegs. Okay, so now we've got our hazel down and in our hand and cut to length. What we're going to do is we're going to go to both ends, and we're going to start at our most pointed end, which we got naturally from cutting it with an axe, and we're just going to take that down into a pencil point, and that's going to be the side that we drive into the ground. I work round in squares when I'm doing a point, kind of like the pattern you'd see on a pencil, and then without applying too much force, just go down a little bit by little bit, using my thumb on my offhand to push the spine of the knife away from myself. And then these corners that we get from cutting in a square, I'm going to work on them next and take them down. Just like that. And the next thing you want to do is come to your other end, and you want to try and just make this end flat, which a sharp knife really helps with. So get that nice and flat, and then what we want to do is we just want to put a slight chamfer on the top here, like this. And the reason we do this is just to reduce the surface area that we're hitting with a mallet or the back of an axe. If you've ever driven stakes into the ground before, you'll know that they tend to want to split out at the top. They want to peel away, mushroom over. This just prevents that from happening. Right, so now we've got both ends done. What we want to do is we want to come down. I normally come down sort of 3 fingers. I lay three fingers over, and that's generally what I use. And what we want to do is we want to put a stop cut down in here. My knife is sharp enough to just go in. If yours isn't, you can always lay this down on a log and just tap the spine of your knife to get it to sink in. I'll show you both methods. So mine just drops in. If it doesn't, you can simply just hammer it in like that. Now I'll pull this out. Then we want to drive in at a 45-degree angle down to our stop cut. To make this little notch in here. Now we're just going to keep going on this notch, just taking a little bit out, a little bit more out, coming back down here, just to give us a bit more for our rope to grab onto. So I'll just do a bit of that now here. Then I just roll the piece of wood on the edge of the knife to take any more off there. Just like this. Then when we peg this into the ground, our rope will sit nicely in there and catch on that lip. If you're thinking of reusing these, if you're thinking that you can take them out again next time, which you can, you're going to want to shave the bark off, because if you don't and you're constantly putting it in the ground, you're going to get white rot between the bark, the outer bark and the inner bark, and that's going to make them fragile. They're going to break on you eventually. If you take the bark off now, when you store them at home and they dry out, they season up, they're just going to get harder and they're going to get better. Eventually they'll rot, but biodegradable, recyclable tent pegs, eh? Got to do our bit. So let's go ahead and take off some of the bark. And here we have it. This is the first of our reusable, very simple tent pegs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other 4, and I'm just going to hammer this into the ground now and just show you just how good these tent pegs are. Because I'm so confident with my pegs, I'm going to stick it in with an axe. Perfect. Okay, so the first method is probably the one I would go for. If, like me, you do have a razor sharp axe, what you can do is the quick method, which is what I would sometimes do if I forgot my tent pegs. Not like to do that. I'll just hold it upright on a log and just use the axe to cut the angles. Just like this. Now this is a very rough and ready approach. If you want a bit more finesse, then you're definitely better off using a knife, but this is just a very quick sort of get out of trouble technique. And the same with the other end, as we done before with the knife, but I just roll it over with the axe. Just to give that end a bit of protection. And then our notch. And that is good enough to get you out of a muddle really quickly. If you're not explaining how to do it, you can do this in about 15-20 seconds with an axe. So in 2 minutes you've got 8 tent pegs that you can use just to get you out of trouble. Okay, so here we have them, 4 quickly handmade tent pegs using hazel. Like I said before, taking the bark off gets rid of that risk of white rot, and then you can use these again and again. Sometimes you might have to just sharpen up the point on the end if you did what I did earlier and hit a tree root, but that is just as simple as just refining that point. You're good to go again. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and I'd like to encourage you to go out and try your own tent pegs. Let me know how they work, and good luck. Till next time.